The first year I spent in a Yupik village, and people would come to visit me, elders, and they'd come in and they'd just sit there and not say a word, and I was just like babbling to fill the space like a radio announcer, like no dead air. But then I learned that that's, people come to visit you to be present, not necessarily to talk. And that experience just taught me to be comfortable with these, sometimes very, very long silences. And later on to see that as something valuable in a film. The central subject matter of my work has been Alaska Native cultures, Alaska Native people. The problems of subsistence, of staying alive in this very domineering, powerful environment, and the ingenious and creative ways that people come up with for solving those problems. And also the kind of emotional landscape of depending on the environment to live. People make dances, they make songs to mediate between what Yupik people refer to as the seen world, this world that we could see and touch, and the unseen world, the world where the spirits of the animals lived, that they hunted, that they depended on every day. And if you could mediate that distance and appease those spirits and honor those spirits, then you would have good luck in hunting. For anthropologists, the idea of collaborating with the people you're studying was, was unheard of. And people told us, no, you can't do that. You need an anthropologist to tell you what to look at. I always said, maybe naively at the time, that we already have somebody to tell us what to look at, the people who are going to be in the film. In some of the films I have a title in the beginning that says this film was made in order to express how people see their own lives. That's a pretty bold statement, and it's only partially true. So I realized that there's a whole separate set of behaviors for white people, and of their experience relating to me as an outsider. And then that made me, look back at the film and say, whose voice is really present? I mean, these are the questions about documentary film and ethnographic film that are really important to talk about, especially with the digital revolution. The question of why do this? And what importance are these films going to have as records? Documentary film is a form of fiction, except we agree that it does represent a certain reality. I've never been interested in making films about information or that teach or explain a culture. I was interested in finding access into the world of intimacy in those cultures.
Of course, 皆さんが支えてくれております。ある人は、お前がこのように伸びていくのは、育っていくのは、高まっていくのはいいかと。あんた立ちなさいと言われまして、自分のバンドをこう持ち上げてごらんと。で、持ち上がるかと。こう言われました。私やってみたけど持ち上がらない。あなたが成長して伸びていくのは、みんながバンドに手を持って、そして上げてくれるから伸びるんだと。そのことを忘れちゃいけないと。こう おっしゃってくれた先輩もおります。
The idea for Strange and Sacred Noise came up. John's music was complete revelation to me, because I had never thought about music in that way. Starting with noise and cutting away at it, rather than like building notes. That's what I thought composition was.
The Kaluli people in Papua New Guinea have a tradition of song making. And when a song maker is listening for a new song, he'll go out into the forest and camp by a waterfall and may stay there for days, just listening to the noise, the roar, the voices of the waterfall, steeping himself in that noise, because within the sound of the waterfall are contained all the songs of the world. So I've come to regard noise not as unwanted sound, but as the breath of the world.
There is an element, I think, about my work that mirrors or reflects John's music, in that the work is incomplete, intentionally incomplete. Everybody that comes in there finishes it with their own experience. That goes on long, long, long after the film is finished. Every village that I worked in, I always looked at those relationships as lifelong relationships. And it's not just trust, it's the quality of the trust. Don't go into this if you think it's going to get you a job. It's not just making a film, it's a kind of emotional education.